Welcome to the Rabbit Hole Fantasy Football Podcast. Thoughts, analysis, and information to help you succeed in your fantasy football leagues. I am here with Tyler.
Hey.
And our producer, Mitchell.
Hello.
And today we have Day 3 Rookies Part 2. It's getting pretty thin, but we might have a couple gems in here. So with that said, let's get right into these guys, and we will start with quarterback. Joe Milton, Tennessee, 6th round, New England. Listen, Joe Milton is actually the only quarterback that we're going to talk about today that I even have somewhat dynasty interest in, if I'm being completely honest. 6'5", 230 pounds, big dude with a really big arm, a cannon, actually. High-level athlete. He'll make you pay in multiple ways, when the play breaks down. Nice combination of power and speed when running the ball. When the pocket's clean, he can be effective. Wherein lies my concerns. Comes from a predominantly one-read offense, not a drop back or multi-read passer. Really seems to lack anticipations and relies on throwing bullets to offset that. He's immediately behind Drake May, hence a terrible landing spot. Tyler, are you stashing a guy like Joe Milton on your practice squad and just kind of waiting and watching? Like, what's your take?
Back half end around 4, maybe take a flyer on him, but it's not something that I feel great about. I think this guy got into the league because he has an absolute bazooka of an arm.
Agreed.
I know some teams have toyed around with the idea of turning him into a tight end, i.e. Logan Thomas. You're not banking on that for dynasty. But I guess I will say to finish off I just don't really want to turn my back on any of these athletic quarterbacks at this point. I mean, I hate the landing spot. It's a shocker that the Patriots drafted him when they did. They took Drake May 3rd overall, but yeah, back end, I mean, way, way late stash with a lot of wide receivers and stuff that I'd rather take over him. But if it's getting really slim at the back end, you could do worse than take a flyer on Joe Milton, I think.
I'm with you. I'd stash him. Moving on, Devin Leary, Kentucky, 6th round to Baltimore. Tyler, the next two quarterbacks, I'm going to let you go ahead. So go ahead, Devin Leary, Kentucky.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson's the quarterback in Baltimore. So, to me, these next two guys aren't even really worth a stash. I don't see either of them getting any NFL playing time anywhere in the near future.
Totally agreed. So let's move on to Micheal Pratt, Tulane, 7th round to Green Bay.
Same thing. Jordan loves the guy there. Micheal Pratt did some good things in college, but I just don't see him being anywhere other than a depth quarterback. In most 4-round rookie drafts, I'm not taking a flyer even on him. Joe Milton's a guy out of these quarterbacks. If I'm taking a flyer on somebody, it's him. These guys, I'm letting them sit.
Okay. I'm excited to move on. Wide receivers. Here we go. Jha'Quan Jackson, Tulane, 6th round to the Tennessee Titans. Shifty player who's honestly been quite underwhelming. He had opportunities, but over his final 3 years, only totaled like 1,200 yards. Seems to only catch with his body. When he does go away from his frame, he's quite ineffective. He's an effective kick returner. Just, doesn't do much for me, and the landing spot's iffy as well. So, Tyler, you go ahead.
Landing spot's iffy as far as being able to, assuming Will Levis is the quarterback. I don't really know if that's accurate, but I just don't think that there's going to be enough love to go around for him to have a ton of fantasy relevance. He's quick, can make people miss in the open field, could find a spot as a kick returner, like you said. Reunites with Tajay Spears.
Yay.
No, just a lot of the tape at Tulane, like they were kind of a one-dimensional team. If anything, maybe he was underused, but worth a flyer though.
Okay. Malik Washington, Virginia, 6th round to Miami. Now, to me, this kid is kind of intriguing. Spent 4 years at Northwestern and transferred to Virginia. While he was at Virginia, not only did he have a late breakout, but he had one of the best seasons that anyone has ever had at Virginia as a wide receiver. 110 catches, 1,426 yards, 9 touchdowns, and broke Herman Moore's single-season single season receiving yards record. He showed flashes at Northwestern, but not like this at all. So, Tyler, is this a fluke, or do you feel like there's potentially something there? Because to me, it seems like there is potential in him, and great speed and burst and like in all the right spots, contorts his body, makes the funky catches, great contact balance after the catch. I could keep going on and on and on. So, what say you?
I'm in complete agreement. I think if not for his small frame, he's drafted way sooner. The speed is there. Like you said, he had as productive of a season as you can hope for from a wide receiver. And I think there's opportunity here. You get Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, but then behind that, you're talking Odell, injury prone, Claypool, sometimes out to lunch. I think there could be an actual opportunity here for Malik Washington. I think he's definitely the return man for this team.
Sure.
And I just think the opportunity could be there. And I think this guy, if he has just a little bit bigger frame, is a 3rd or 4th round draft pick.
Yeah, I'm taking a stab at Malik Washington. Take everything you said. Tyreek Hill and Odell Beckham are pretty well to the end here. There's not a lot there after that. Like when that end happens, there's not a lot there. So,
and
yeah,
watching tape in this group of 6th and 7th round wide receivers, it's hard for Washington not to stand out.
Oh yeah.
When bunched with these other guys, like if they're the gem here, like he has as good a potential as anybody.
Is the fall just because of where he played, or do you think it's?
I really think it's size.
Size. Okay. All right. Yeah. Listen, I'm taking a stab at him later. No problem at all there. I'd love to have him on my bench, practice squad, whatever it may be. Johnny Wilson, Florida State, 6th round to the Eagles. Massive, 6'7", 230-pound receiver, wild speed and size combo, but I don't know, man. I just don't see much of a path for him. I don't see much of a fantasy relevant career here. Tyler, where are you at?
I think this guy needs to be a tight end. I mean, 6'7". The speed to me is not a strong suit for him, and it's like I don't think he's a blocking tight end, but I think he would do better in the NFL to make the switch to tight end. Beyond that, I just don't see. And with a lot of these guys, I mean, these are 6th and 7th rounds pick, and we're hyping some of these guys up. We got to take it into perspective where they're drafted, the draft capital that was spent on them. If he's a tight end, take a flyer on him. If he's a receiver, I'm fine letting him sit.
Yep, same. And I feel the same about this next guy, Casey Washington, Illinois. 6th round to Atlanta. Yeah, I don't know. There's just not much there in my opinion. Underwhelming and inconsistent career through college. He does have underrated route running ability. Pretty solid hands. He only had like 3 drops in college. Landing spot don't matter much to me because I just don't buy into the talent. Tyler?
Yeah. Even the landing spot, I don't think you're giving your 3rd or 4th wide receiver if he even makes it to that point of the depth chart that much love. Like you said, good route runner, great hands. Speed isn't really there. He seemed to struggle a lot in like press coverages and stuff. If guys got in his face, it seemed like it was an issue for him.
Yep. I did notice that.
So yeah, late flyer. I mean, if you're at the back end of the 4th round, maybe
it's getting thin. I mean, we're talking 6th and 7th round, man. It's getting tough. Tejhaun Palmer out of UAB, 6th round to Arizona. Palmer is frustrating in that he has what teams seem to look for in size and speed to work the outsides and be very effective, but the drops. Lack of concentration. It drives me mad watching his tape. And on top of that, route running's underwhelming. He doesn't have great release. I'm going elsewhere, man. I banged my forehead off this wall directly next to me for like an hour. Like, dude, come on. So where are you at here with Tejhaun Palmer?
I'll take a flyer on Palmer.
All right.
If he puts it together, I think there's something there, but there's a lot of work to be done there. This is a very unpolished player. He's a late bloomer in college too. Like he really didn't have a good season until last year, and even then, drops were an issue. But man, like the athletic ability, the size, everything is there. If he could put it together, and I think the Arizona Cardinals depth chart benefits him to this, where if he can put it together, there's probably maybe a spot for him. I'd take a late flyer on him.
Got to catch the ball first. Jordan Whittington, Texas 6th round to the Rams. I like Jordan Whittington, actually, and the landing spot's pretty ideal. Longhorns' offense wasn't really lacking with playmakers, so finding your way in an offense like that can be super tricky, even when you yourself are very talented. And Whittington fits that mold to me. And he went to a team who could be needing his services much sooner than later. And I'm really curious to see, where he takes that opportunity if it happens to present itself. The dude comes to work angry. He can be an absolute bully at the catch point. Shows skilled route running and detail when approaching defenders to create space at his breaks. Great field vision. Very effective run blocker. Tyler, early career injuries stuff aside, am I overreacting a little bit with this fella? Or
no, and I think it's of note that Jordan Whittington made the switch from running back to wide receiver.
Right.
So he also has that in his bank. And I mean, guy's just a playmaker. And like you said, there was Thomas, Worthy. There was a lot. Jonathan Brooks. Texas had a great offense last year, and he still was able to find a role in that offense. And I think he's a very versatile player, and I like that going into a Sean McVay offense.
Sure. Cooper Kupp's about to the end here.
Yeah.
Puka's there. That's great. He's young. But somebody else has to play wide
Somebody's
receiver.
Gotta step up.
I don't know, man. I like where he landed. Like you said, the Sean McVay thing. Got a late guy he likes. Yeah, man. I'm all about sticking that dude, on my bench, practice squad. I wouldn't even hesitate to do it. I think he shows a lot more potential than most of the guys that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, if you have a taxi squad, this guy's a guy that I have no problem on my bench versus even taxi squad.
Yeah.
Some of the guys we talked about before, definitely a taxi squad stash. This guy, I'll take that chance and put him on my bench.
Okay. Ryan Flournoy, Southeast Missouri State, 6th round to Dallas. Older prospect, turns, I believe, 25 in October. Listen, I'm not going to jump through hoops to get Flournoy, but I'm not opposed to taking him when it's appropriate. Tyler?
I value big boy football that I call it in college, and there's just not a lot of tape there. Now, what I will say is that the Senior Bowl, lined up against some big school corners, he impressed. He's a hard one for me to read. Because, when you're just watching that tape, you're like, man, this guy's got some moves. He can do this. And then you watch some of the game film, and you're like, well, why isn't he doing that here against some of these smaller schools? I'm not jumping up and down for him by any means, but I mean, I think a case could be made for him.
His best trait is ball tracking. And he's the catch away from the frame. He's as good as anyone there. Reliable.
How do you feel about him landing in Dallas? Is that?
Well, I mean, it's fine. I think it's fine. There could be way worse landing spots.
Sure.
Yeah. He's a taxi squad guy. Now I'm, way more excited about someone like Jordan Whittington. Way more excited about the next guy, but I'd toss him on the bench, taxi squad. Brenedn Rice, USC, round 7 to the Chargers. Son of the great Jerry Rice, 791 yards, 12 TDs last season. Love the landing spot. Great size and play strength. Does well off script. Has a nose for the blind spots when things break down. Game to game, there's some consistency problems there. But listen, it's Jerry Rice's son. We're not talking about reaching here. These are all dart throws at this point, and we just try to find potential gems and guys with higher opportunity type landing spots. So I'll bet on the pedigree and talent upside, and I'll be super happy to, add him deep on the bench, practice squad spot, and just see what happens. What do you say?
I'll take a reach for Brenedn Rice.
You reach?
Yeah. I'll take a reach. You're giving me the pedigree of the best wide receiver to ever play the game, in my opinion. There's a lot of jobs available in Los
There
Angeles
sure
right
is,
now at the
man.
wide receiver
Landing
position.
spot's awesome.
I
And let
love
me be
it.
clear, by me saying, listen, this isn't a reach, he's a 7th round receiver.
Yeah, so with that draft capital in mind,
You go a little further up the board.
I
don't
definitely
blame
third round, like Brenedn Rice. Like,
Sure.
I'll take that shot.
Oh, yeah. I
Third
agree.
round rookie draft, possibly even second, depending on how things are going. But
Mhm.
yeah, the pedigree there and the size is there. And in a pinch, man, that was Caleb Williams' guy. That was who he
Sure
was looking
was.
for when it was they needed something.
Totally agree. Cool, man. So we've been on the page all day. Devaughn Vele, Utah, round 7 to the Broncos. Big dude at 6'4", 200 plus, with speed to boot. Got 4.47 40. Chews up yards quick with a nice long stride. Loose hips, fluid route runner. Very little wasted motion when he hits his brakes. Soft but strong hands. Didn't see a lot of press at Utah, so that's going to need to be addressed like right away. For as fast as he is, he doesn't display great burst or breakaway speed. I'm not really in love here, but I don't think the landing spot is bad. You?
I'm not sold on Vele.
Yeah.
Size and speed is there. Guy, what'd you say, sub 4.5s for the 40?
Yeah.
6'4". He's 26.
Yeah, he's old.
I'm not sure it was like a mission or something that he was doing for 2 years. I did look it up. I can't exactly remember off the top of my head, but there's a reason for it. Like, it wasn't injury or anything like that. So you got Franklin there. Cortland Sutton. Do you think this offense, like, I just don't, even if he gets that roster spot, is it going to be fantasy relevant, I guess?
I don't think so.
I think it's tight end, 2 wide receivers, and 2 running backs. That's for the Broncos offense. I mean,
honestly, I would rather take a swing on this next guy. Tahj Washington, USC, another USC guy. Round 7 to Miami. Over 1,000 yards last year at USC with Caleb Williams. Fantastic rack ability. Love how he changes and mixes up his tempo and runs his routes with intent to get separation. He's really good at that. Willing to run block and does quite well for a 5'10", 170-pound dude. Much better in zone than man. That's going to need fixed. He's more quick than he is fast, and catch radius could be a problem. So, Tyler, a lot consider this dude like a sleeper. I can kind of see why when I watch his tape. He's not exactly a slouch. Is he a guy you're going to take a flyer on?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think Miami did excellent at the back end of this. I think both these guys, the Washingtons, should have went higher. And I brought up the frame with Malik. I think it's the frame with Tahj a little bit too. I mean, there was big play production from Washington in college.
But those frames work in this offense. So
yeah, and I don't think like the league's changing. So I don't think it's a thing where every team thinks they need that Calvin Johnson prototype wide receiver.
Right.
Speed is more where teams are going for now, especially Miami. I think Malik out of the two is the better prospect, but Washington, he's a worker. Just has that feel like maybe there's potential there.
He did a good job. Like I was saying, Brenedn Rice does a really good job when the play breaks down. So does Tahj.
Yeah.
Does a great job with that.
And I didn't notice the thing about switching speeds at the route like you did. I might have to go back and watch that because that's really interesting. Good work on your part. But I know that there was a lot of big play ability there. Like there was big play production too. Like he was making big plays.
Oh yeah, yep. They against a pretty legit schedule.
Yeah,
they had to throw a lot. There's probably a little bit of inflation there, but again, I've said it every single episode. There's an eye test thing with guys like this where it's like that play was over, man. And obviously, part of it is Caleb Williams and his ability to extend plays, but you need guys to extend the plays with you and understand to come back and find the blind spots and find those holes. And these guys have that ability.
It's still a read that not every receiver can do. 100%
agree. And guys like Rice and Washington had this opportunity to play in an offense where that happened a lot.
Yeah.
So they actually got quite skilled at that. Agree?
Agree.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Cornelius Johnson, Michigan, round 7 to the Chargers. Honestly, I didn't get to him as much as I would have liked to. I'm not super interested, but Tyler, I'll let you take the reins here.
Yeah, I didn't even like Roman Wilson coming out of Michigan.
Yeah.
And as many, I know I said with Brenedn Rice, well, there's a lot of jobs available. Yeah. Well, I don't think one of those jobs is for Cornelius Johnson.
I agree.
Ladd McConkey. I think Ladd McConkey and Brenedn Rice are going to be the two best Chargers receivers, even with Quentin Johnson there and Josh Palmer. I've seen tape on those two, and I think, do I think there's a roster spot for Cornelius Johnson? Sure, but it's also the last receiver taken in the draft for a reason.
All right. That's it for receivers. Let's move on to running backs. Kimani Vidal, Troy, round 6 to the Chargers. Tyler, you like Vidal. Why don't you take this?
I like Vidal a lot. I've already drafted Vidal in a dynasty league. I'm shocked that the Chargers waited this long to take a running back in the draft, but I love the landing spot. A Greg Roman offense. The guys in front of him are very injury prone.
Stop.
Chad's boy, J.K. Dobbins. Yeah. You could make a case for Vidal having the potential to be the most productive running back in this rookie class. Literally an injury away.
Yeah. I hate to admit it, but you're right. I would take a shot on Vidal. Actually, I'd out of these 4 guys here, I like him the most. I mean, the fantasy guy in me wants it to not happen so bad because
the one-cut runner, he fits well into Harbaugh's system.
He does.
Greg Roman's system as well. I mean, the zone read running scheme, he fits well into that.
I want it to be Dobbins so bad, but you're right. You're right.
I hope for your sake it is Dobbins. But I'm going to keep drafting Vidal.
Sure. Fair enough. All right. Jase McCellan, Alabama, round 6 to the Falcons. I don't know. Landing spot is a big negative because, Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier exist. So I'm probably going to stay away on this one, but it's not, I don't dislike the talent. It's just because I have no clue how he's going to carve out a fantasy relevant role here. 1,000 total yards, 8 touchdowns last year. Did have an ACL in 2021. Quality play strength, motors through arm tackles, doesn't shy from contact, and drives through the contact. Powerful leg drive. He's not like a chump or anything. He's a patient runner, not super creative, not a lot of top end speed, but I just don't see how it's possible that this guy can carve a role.
I don't either.
He's
it has
just
to be
he's just
injury,
a
and
body.
you never want to bank on injury.
No.
I could see an injury to Bijan Robinson, them splitting carries between Algier and him, but I think that is, not that it's best case scenario because I don't want anything to happen to Bijan. I never wish injury on anybody, but for him, I think that's best case scenario for fantasy relevance for him.
Okay. Jawhar Jorden, Louisville, round 6 to Houston. Tyler, go ahead with this one.
I like him. I like the landing spot. I don't think there's a ton in front of him there. And he's productive. I'll take a flyer on this guy.
Sure. Yeah, why not? I think I would too. I'd take a flyer on him over McLachlan.
Yeah, I would have Jorden definitely over McLachlan behind Vidal.
To me, it's Vidal, Jorden, the next guy we're going to talk about, and McLachlan.
I'll go Vidal, Jorden, McLachlan, and then the next guy.
Okay. Next guy is Dylan Laube out of New Hampshire, round 6 to the Raiders. Small school guy, very weak schedule. Great receiving back. He's a hell of a player, quite honestly. Watching his tape, it's like, dang, that dude can play football. But as of now, he's 4th on the depth chart. He's behind Amir Abdullah. However, that could change quick. Like you said, I don't know how that dude's still around, but he's still there. But then, say he gets to 3. Well, he's still got Zamir White and Alexander Madison in front of him. Is this a case where you just bet on some talent late and roll the dice, or?
Yeah, I mean, you could watch the tape against Central Michigan and be like, oh my God, this guy's a first round pick. He had like 200 and some receiving yards in that game alone. But I really need Kazir White to do really good things this year, so I don't want to root for him. No, I think it's a tough path to get to a starting role. That being said, it would not surprise me to see him as a gadget player, somebody that comes in on third downs just because of his receiving ability. So you're right on the list before, Chad. I'd put Laube ahead of McLachlan. I retract that.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to tight ends. Tyler. Tyler, I'm going to let you hammer these tight ends out. To be completely honest, I didn't get to them. And to be even more honest, I didn't want to. So Tanner McLachlan, Arizona, round 6, Bengals. Tyler, go. What's the point of this?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you right out of the gate. I think Bell makes a roster because of his athletic ability. I mean, Tanner McLachlan, I mean, you're kind of looking at like a blocking tight end here. He's undersized. So even when you're talking as a blocker, like, yeah, get away with it at the college level, but is that going to work in the NFL? I just don't know, even as like, and the depth isn't there. Yeah, I'm going to move on because I don't.
My interest level is 0.
I don't know if he has a roster spot come.
He doesn't.
53-man cut.
I don't think he does either.
Okay.
With that said, Jaheim Bell, Florida State, round 7 to New England.
Out of the tight ends we're going to talk about, I think this has the most potential.
Okay.
And it's because of athletic ability. He's the one who could be a receiving threat out of these 3 that we're going to talk about. I think he gets your roster spot on the Patriots, and who knows? Am I drafting him? No.
Nope, me neither. Stash and see if you want to. If not, pass on and maybe take Devin Culp out of Washington.
No, don't. Take Bell. If you're going to take either of them, take Bell.
Round 7 to Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Blocking tight end. I don't see him on a roster. Maybe practice squad player. And that's not to take anything away. I just, at this point in the draft, like we said earlier, I mean, you're talking round 6 and 7 draft capital. And the truth of it is, tight ends drafted at that frame, just the chance of them even making it on a roster for more than 2 years is slim.
Agreed. All right. Hey, listen, I know that, that wasn't the most exciting episode, but listen, we're all done with rookies. We've combed through every single one of them. Stay with us because next we're going to start a series going through each conference, talking about every team, all the players, coaching changes, schemes, all that good stuff. So the real fun's going to start here shortly. Guys, thanks for staying patient with us. Thank you for getting through these rookie episodes. Tell people who we are, pass us around, show everybody you know who likes fantasy football because we want to try to help as many people as we can. So thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.